My name's Elena. I'm the fiancé of Joshua Lee McCollister, who was murdered on July 8th by Deunn Willis and robbed by Danielle Durand. It's hard for me to say those names. It's actually really difficult. I watched these other two videos I shot and I can see myself stumbling, and it's when you love someone like I love Josh, it's just like, I've seen people who have difficulty pronouncing what kind of cancer their loved one died of, and that's really how I feel. These two people they wrecked our lives for no reason at all. There was no need for him to be shot. There was no point to him being shot. So, if he'd been hit by a car, it would have been hard. But it's such a different thing when you lose someone to homicidal violence so suddenly. Like, there's no way anyone could have prepared for this or seen this coming. So if I ever stumble over their names, that's what it is. It's like saying a cancer. It's a cancer in my mouth to say their names. I was shopping tonight, and a woman came up to me, and she was religious and very respectfully inquired about my beliefs about God. And I answered her, and she asked me if there was anything that she could pray for me. And I said, yes, thank you. I asked her if she would pray for my in-laws, Sandy and Neil, because Josh's parents did not have to be so kind to me right now, because we weren't technically married. We were planning on getting married probably in about 6 months, probably February. But we hadn't actually done it yet, so they could have just discarded me, and they didn't. And I'd like to talk about Sandy in particular. This is a woman who just lost her son, and Josh was a good son. It's one of the first things I liked about him is how respectful he was to his mother. I mean, you know a lot about a man by how he treats his mother. And with Josh, the son basically rose and sat at his mother's feet. He was devoted to her. They spoke almost every day on the phone. They had a rule that if they went more than 3 days without speaking, they'd have to do emergency contacts, because that's how close they were. And she is devastated. She is so devastated. But even though she is so devastated, she reached out to me, and with this attitude of, honey, what can I do for you? You're still family. You can call me mama. This is such a good woman. This is such a good woman. And she is so devastated by what Deunn Willis and Danielle Durand have done, not just to Josh, but to all of us, everyone that loved him. So, in terms of what you can do for me, I saw somebody keeps offering to help with a GoFundMe for me, and that's not what I want. What I want is care and compassion and consideration for Josh's parents. If people could keep Sandy in their prayers, and Josh's parents live very far away. That's why they weren't in the courtroom with me. They live very far away, so they had to Skype it. They had to see the people that murdered their child over Skype. And You know, Neil is, he's a tough guy. He's stoic. Very stoic. But his heart's broken. That's his son. That was his child. And, you know, they didn't deserve to go through any of this. And, you know, I know that when Deunn Willis pulled that trigger, he didn't know that this guy had a fiancé and children, because he didn't ask. He didn't even know Josh's name, I bet. But he knew that Josh had parents. He knew Josh had parents. Why didn't he think about Josh's parents? I mean, Josh was not some old guy. He was 37 years old. He was only 37. I mean, his parents were probably going to still be alive. Didn't Deunn Willis think that he was going to be tearing a mother's heart out, tearing a father's heart out? What about them? What about their suffering? Sandy and Neil deserved better. Joshua Lee McCollister deserved better, but I know that one of the things that would have been going through his head before he went unconscious from the blood loss was about his parents. He would have been thinking definitely, absolutely, about his mom and how hard this was going to hit her if he died. I wonder if it has ever occurred to Deunn Willis and Danielle Durand how devastating it would have been for their mothers if Josh had been the psychopathic killer that did this. You know, people aren't going to like that I call him that, but I don't know what else to call someone that shoots someone over a puppy that they already have. They could have just walked away. They could have just left. You know, how would Deunn Willis's mother have felt if Josh had done that to her and she had to go on with this void? How would Deonn's father have felt if he had to go on with the void that Sandy and Neil do? You know, I know that Danielle Durand actually brought her dad up while this was happening, while they had the gun on my fiance. When that day happened, she talked about her dad. How would her dad have processed this? Has that occurred to her? Has it occurred to her what she did when she was talking about her father and trying to make things better for him? What did she do to Neil? This is why they deserve the maximum penalty. This is not like they were shoplifting. They destroyed a family. They didn't just kill a man, they destroyed our family. So, thoughts and prayers for Sandy and Neil, please. That's something you can do for me. If you can show them some love and respect, you know, that would be nice. That's something you could do. Thank you.